few videos, we will be discussing magnetostatics. Okay, magnetostatic. That is, we are going to study a steady magnetic field. A magnetic field which does not vary. Okay, steady magnetic field. A non-varying magnetic field. Now, most of you will be very fond of this magnetic fields, right? Once in the class we have discussed about this. Okay, in childhood days, playing with pieces of magnets, wondering how these magnets gets attracted, right? Giving good reactions for magnets sticking each other. We tried to throw the magnet towards iron rods of a window or some iron or conducting materials, and we enjoyed these magnetic materials getting stuck onto this, all that, right? Yeah. So it's that interesting. Magnetic field is, or magnetics is that interesting. Then what is this magnetic field? Okay, so magnetic field. So far you know now thoroughly what is electric field, right? We have discussed so far electric field, how field is generated, right? It is unseen lines of force around a positive charge, or later, as per Faraday, we have seen that lines of force start from a positive charge and terminates on a negative charge, and if negative charge is absent, these lines of force is everywhere. That is, it may terminate at infinity, right? So all this we have studied. So here too, a magnetic field is created by different means. Okay, a magnetic field can be created by a magnet, that is a permanent magnet which has a north pole, south pole, and a magnetic field can be created by current, direct current, DC. Okay, a direct current, or a magnetic field can be created by a changing current. Okay, that is, it can be created by an electric field changing with the time. Okay, so these are the major three sources of a magnetic field. Okay, the first one is a permanent magnet. Okay, north pole, south pole permanent magnet. Second thing is a source of direct current, and third one is a source of variable current. So these are the three sources of magnetic field. So I will introduce you the first one. Okay, that is a magnetic field due to a permanent magnet, just to understand what is field. And we will be concentrating on magnetic field due to direct current. Okay, in this particular video as well as coming videos. Means this particular topic we will be concentrating more on magnetic field due to direct current. Keep that in your mind. We'll study magnetic field due to variable current later. We need to study that also. Okay, we're not out of it. We'll be studying, but we'll be studying in later time. Okay, now let us concentrate on to the figure which you have on your screen. Okay, so study magnetic field is what it generates. That is a north pole, south pole magnet. Okay, I have kept, look at the first figure, figure A. So you can see there so many small moments of forces starting from north pole, and they are following some path, tracing a path and entering the south pole, right? So they try to take some path from north pole to south pole. This is what we get from figure 1, is it not? So it's basically small arrow marks, because we are basically using a compass. Okay, so many small compasses are used to map this magnetic field. Okay, so if you use so many small compasses to map this magnetic field around such a bar magnet, they will point in directions like this. Now figure B, what I did is all these small compasses I have joined. okay, with a neat curved line. So the directions are very clear. It is from north pole to south pole of a bar magnet. So figure B shows representation of it. Figure A is mapping, okay, experimental mapping. You are using small needle compasses, okay, and these compasses align like that. Can you see each dot, each circle, small circle is a mini compass, and that compasses, when you keep near this bar magnet, they are aligning like this. So I keep so many compasses, they align like this, okay, from north pole to south pole. Now I'm drawing it very neatly, okay. So I join these compasses, okay, the path of these compasses, I remove these compasses, this path of these compasses are joined using a line. So I'll get a neat curved line from north pole to south pole as shown in figure B. Okay. The more wonderful thing is, if you can, okay, if you can probe or map the interior of the bar magnet, okay, interior of the bar magnet, it is found that this line which I have drawn, curved line which I have drawn, makes a loop. Okay, that means these field lines, okay, try to form a loop through the bar magnet. This is shown in figure C. So usually magnetic lines, okay, lines which I have drawn are known as magnetic lines because it's related to magnet. So these magnetic lines are usually considered as loop lines, a loop, not like electric field lines. Electric field lines starts from one point and ends at another point. They never form a loop. That we have seen. If we try to form a loop of electric flux lines, then closed integral of that is 0. Right? Closed integral E dot dl is 0. That we have seen. Right? So, but here in magnetic field case, this magnetic lines are loop lines. So I have given this figure to make you understand that. So I hope figure A, figure B, figure C, all the three figures and its descriptions are clear. So I am going on telling magnetic lines. So I can tell it better as magnetic field lines, because I always assume that there is a field around this magnet. Why I am assuming there is a field around this magnet? By this time you know that when you try to come near any magnet, okay, with another magnetic material or with a conductor, you will experience a force. Right? You will experience a force. This force is very maximum, right? Very high near the magnet, and when you go farther and farther from the magnet, this force experience will be less. This is common sense, is it not? So these magnetic lines, I can call it as magnetic field lines, okay, because they represent field around the magnet. And since in this around the magnet area you experience force, right, undoubtedly you are going to experience some force. So I can call this line as magnetic force lines or magnetic lines of force. Getting technicality. So these many technical names I can give it based on the theorems or based on the hypothesis. So magnetic lines of force. And these magnetic lines of force is nothing but magnetic flux lines. So they can be called as magnetic flux lines. In electric field, we just call them flux. Okay, we never say electric flux, right? Even though it is electric flux, when the moment we say flux, we take it as electric flux. So hereafter, you should be able to tell me whether it is electric flux or magnetic flux, because you have studied both now. So the moment somebody tells me, sir, flux, I'll ask which flux. You have to specify. Sir, magnetic flux. The magnetic flux line will originate from North Pole. Okay, we assume that it originated from North Pole. It goes to South Pole, loop through the magnet, and again it comes out from the North Pole, goes to South Pole. So let us assume North Pole is positive and South Pole is negative for the terminology. Okay, just to relate it to electric field. So it is starting from North Pole and ending on South Pole. Now what if South Pole is absent? Like minus Q is absent in electric field, right? Then what happens? We know, just now I told. You know already. Now, what if the South Pole is absent? The answer is, such a system is not possible at all. Yeah, you cannot have a magnet. Okay, you cannot have a magnet without a dipole. In the sense, you cannot have a magnet with single pole. If there is a magnet existing, it will have both North Pole and South Pole. Excellent. That means an isolated magnetic pole does not exist. You try to cut magnet into how much ever little possible, little piece possible, small piece possible, that each that small dot piece will have North Pole and South Pole. This should be very clear. Okay, this should be very clear. A bar magnet or any magnet in that sense, okay, you cannot cut. Okay, you cannot tell me, sir, I'll cut it at the middle. Okay, now North Pole is this side and South Pole is that side. I separated it. No, when you cut, a new South Pole and North Pole is generated. Okay, like you cut the bar magnet exactly at the middle. Okay, the North Pole side will have South Pole generated and South Pole fellow will have over the North Pole generated. So they cannot be isolated. Okay, so there is no question of magnetic field lines terminating at infinity. This also you have to remember. So magnetic field lines originates at North Pole, terminates in the South Pole. If it is a bar magnet, usually in the same magnet's South Pole, not another magnet's South Pole. Is that okay? This is wonderful. Okay, this is very nice. Okay, so always remember this. Okay, the magnetic flux lines exist in form of a closed loop, and we assume that it starts from North Pole. Okay, go to South Pole, loop through the magnet, again comes to North Pole that way. So usually it originates from the North Pole of a bar magnet and terminates in the South Pole of same bar magnet. This is the case of bar magnet. Is this okay? Yeah. Now we have to study magnetic field intensity. That is the strength of the field. Okay, strength of the field. That is magnetic field intensity. It is also known as it's a quantitative measure. Okay, it's a quantitative measure of strength. Okay, or weakness, strength or weakness of a magnetic field. So that is magnetic field intensity. So like electric field intensity in electric field, here we have magnetic field intensity. Okay, so magnetic field intensity is notated or denoted by H vector. Okay, so magnetic field intensity is given by H vector. H vector. So what is the definition? So magnetic field intensity is measure of strength of the field. That's very clear. Okay, how much force you will experience if you are in a field. Okay, that is the measure of H vector. But it is defined as force experienced by unit North Pole of 1 Weber strength when placed in that field. Okay, repeat. It is a force experienced by a unit North Pole. Unit North Pole means usually 1 Weber strength. Okay, so it is the force experienced by a unit North Pole when you are trying to keep that North Pole in a field, magnetic field. Okay, so it is defined as the force experienced by a unit North Pole of 1 Weber strength when placed at that point. It's a better definition. Okay, now since we have magnetic field intensity, there should be magnetic flux density also. This is not like electric field intensity and electric flux density. So here too you will have magnetic flux density. So I'll not go very deep into, because we have in detail explained what is electric flux density. So magnetic flux density should be easy for you. What will be magnetic flux density? Magnetic flux density will be the total magnetic lines, right? This flux, total magnetic lines of force crossing a unit area of a plane held normal to the direction of flux lines, right? Remembering that. So you have some normal plate like this, okay? So there is magnetic lines of force passing like this, okay, through this plane, okay, through this plane. Then how much it is passing through this area, right, will be your magnetic flux density. So that is given by B vector. Magnetic flux density is denoted by B vector. Okay, so total magnetic lines crossing an area held normal to the flux lines, magnetic flux lines, is magnetic flux density. So the unit of this will be Weber per meter square. Unit of this will be Weber per meter square, because Weber is the unit used to measure magnetic flux line. So magnetic flux lines per meter square per area is magnetic flux density. Okay, magnetic field intensity is usually measured by ampere per meter, current per meter. Okay, we'll see why it is current per meter, ampere per meter. There are other units also, but we will be concentrating on ampere per meter. Okay, ampere per meter. Okay, now I told you that in this in our case we will be concentrating on magnetic field due to direct current, not the magnetic field due to bar magnet, right? Not this, not magnetic field due to bar magnet. So far whatever I have explained you is to make you understand what is a magnetic field and what are the terminologies used to represent magnetic field. So now you know that magnetic field lines are known as magnetic flux lines, and these magnetic flux lines are related to the force around the magnet, or that represent the force, and this force can be measured using intensity, that is H vector. And since we have H vector, we will have B vector, that is flux density. You held something normal, a surface normal to these lines of force, then you will get magnetic flux density. Okay, listen carefully. Now we are talking about a current generating, okay, a direct current generating magnetic, okay, a direct current generating magnetic. So let's assume that this is conductor, okay, this is the conductor. Okay, I kept a conductor, straight conductor. Okay, assume that's a straight conductor. Okay. Now, if I have a current flowing like this from bottom to top, okay, current is flowing like this. There is a current I, current flowing. Then I will have a magnetic field around this conductor. Okay, just now we have seen that a direct current will produce magnetic field. Okay, so this magnetic field has to be somewhere near this conductor, right? So from experiments, it was found that this magnetic field will be around this conductor. What will be around this conductor? Okay, something like this, around this conductor. Okay, so use right hand rule and the direction will mark like this, around and anti-clockwise. Okay, when current is moving up from bottom to top in a conductor, you will have a magnetic field around it. I'm just drawing one line of force. Okay, there will be so many lines of force around it. So one line of force for representation, and you can see the direction. The direction is taken when it is bottom to top. The direction is taken anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise. Okay. Now I'll explain the direction in a better way. Okay, if you want. Now this, take another conductor. Okay, similar, another conductor. Now here the current is flowing downwards. Okay, the current is flowing downwards. Then there will be again magnetic field around this conductor, but what will be the direction? Direction will be now clockwise. Direction will be like this. Direction will be clockwise. Okay. Now go to your imagination. Okay. Imagination power. You have one imagination power. Okay. In the first case, okay, you feel that the magnetic field is like this, right? Around like this. So usually the feeling is the magnetic field is coming towards you, like out of the paper. Okay, this anti-clockwise direction, usually it's just a feeling. Okay, it's a feeling. So it should very imaginative. When you hold a conductor like this in your hand, okay, and current direction is from bottom to top. Okay, this way. So you know this thumb rule, right? You know the thumb rule. If the current direction is like this, then field will be like this, right? Field is like this. That is, the field is towards you. Okay, you hold like this right hand, your right hand. Okay, don't confuse with the camera. Okay, your right hand. So thumb is up, that is current is up. So field is in the finger direction. Okay, you cannot show around. Okay, you cannot take your finger around your thumb, but you know that it's coming towards you. Your finger is coming towards you. Okay, now that is how it is. Okay, if the finger is coming towards you, that means the field is coming out of the paper. When you draw it on the paper, when you draw it on your book, okay, so the field is anti-clockwise direction, and you should feel that the field is coming towards you, out of the paper. Okay, so that is anti-clockwise direction, out of the paper. Why I'm repeating this? Because there's a representation for this. Out of the paper, we represent magnetic field by a small circle and a dot at the center. Okay, a dot at the center. This means the magnetic field direction is out of the paper. This you should remember. Why out of the paper? Thumb up, direction of current. The field is in the direction of your finger. Your finger is coming towards you, out of the paper. When you draw it in 2D, out of the paper. And out of the paper, indication is a small circle with a dot inside. Direction. Okay, that is direction of magnetic field. So magnetic field direction is usually given as into the paper and out of the paper. Okay, we usually don't say normal to that. Okay, normal to x direction, normal to y direction. We'll be using that terminologies, but usually it is into the paper and out of the paper. Okay, this is the difference between electric field direction and this. There we always take radial directions, right? So here magnetic field will be usually termed like this. Okay, now see the second case where the current is going down. The current is going down. Okay, going down. So your finger is now like this. Finger is like this. So your fingers are going away from you. Right? Thumb down. Same right hand you have to use. You don't change your hand. Okay. Right hand, thumb is down now. Now the direction of the field is like this, in the direction of the finger, and fingers are pointing away from you. Fingers are pointing into the paper now. Into the paper. This is very clear, right? Into the paper now. So into the paper is represented by a small circle and a multiplication sign inside. Into sign. Into the paper. This is very clear. So hereafter, whenever I draw a current carrying conductor with current direction top, you know that magnetic field is in anti-clockwise direction, or it is out of the paper direction. And whenever I draw a conductor with current downwards, you know that magnetic field intensity is in clockwise direction or into the paper direction. This has to be very clear. That out and in should not be confused. That is based on the direction of your finger pointing. Okay, up, finger pointing you, so out, coming out of the paper. Kind of like this, finger away from you, into. Okay, into the paper, not again. It is against you. So into the surface, into the paper. Yeah. Excellent. You can study this with respect to screwing also. Okay, so I will not complicate it. Some textbooks will give it that way. Okay, it's known as right hand screw rules. Screw rule. Okay, tightening a screw, releasing a screw, that way. Okay, so I think this explanation is enough. Okay, because this is with thumb rule also. Okay, right hand thumb rule is also clear now, and direction of magnetic field also clear. Let me assume it is clear. Okay. Now let us see the relation between B and H, and after that we will see the first law of this topic. Okay, first theorem or first law of this topic. So now the relation. Okay, so you know that in electric field we have electric field intensity, which is E vector, and we have electric flux density, which is D vector, and we have a relation between them. What is the relation? D vector is epsilon E vector, where epsilon is permittivity of the medium. Similarly, we have a relation in magnetic field also. Okay, steady magnetic field also. So the relation is B is equal to permeability into H. That is, magnetic flux density is equal to, okay, permeability of intensity. So what is this permeability? Okay, this permeability is the permeability of the medium where your conductor is kept. Okay, that means how easily the magnetic flux can pass through the medium, because when you keep a conductor somewhere, the flux lines are around it, right? So the flux lines are traveling through the medium, not through the conductor. Keep this in your mind. Is it not? Conductor is kept somewhere. Field lines are around it. Around it means it is passing through the medium where you have kept this conductor. If you have kept this conductor in water, if you have kept this conductor in free air, if you have kept this conductor in vacuum, if you have kept this conductor in some dielectric, getting what I'm trying to say? So it depends upon the permission of the medium. Very simple. Whether that medium permits these field lines to circulate around it. It's very important, no? The medium should permit, no? So in magnetic field case, okay, the permeability is very important, because these flux lines in electric field case also it was similar. I'm not saying it was not the medium, it is of medium itself, but here, okay, it is more important because this the applications of magnetic field will be different. Okay, because the conductor will be insulated in most of the cases. So insulator is a dielectric. So whether that insulator allows this magnetic field to travel through it and all, we have to discuss later. That's why I'm specifying. Okay, clear? So what is permeability? Permeability is the permission of that medium around the conductor. Okay, whether it is allowing the flux lines to move freely or not. Very clear? That is permeability. It is denoted by mu. It is denoted by mu. Okay, permeability is denoted by mu. Getting? So the relation can be written as B vector is equal to H vector. Now similar to epsilon, epsilon is epsilon naught into epsilon r, where epsilon naught is absolute permittivity and epsilon r is relative permittivity, and epsilon naught is some constant value 8.854 into 10 power minus 12, and epsilon r depends upon the medium. Same way here, this mu is mu naught into mu r. Okay, mu naught into mu r, where mu naught is a constant, okay, which is given by 4 pi into 10 power minus 7. You should remember this. Okay, mu naught is given by 4 pi into 10 power minus 7, and mu r is 1 in free space. Okay, mu r is 1 in free space, in air, basically. Okay, in free air, mu r is 1. So depending upon the medium, mu r will be different. Mu r equal to 1.3, 1.5, 2, 2.3, that. Okay, so different mu r's you will get. Okay, it should be greater than 1 always. Okay, you cannot have less than unity. So mu r will be minimum 1. Okay, and in other mediums it will be greater than 1. So I can write B vector is mu naught mu r H vector. Clear? I hope the concepts of magnetic fields are very clear.